What's up, guys? This is Webby back again for your TLC preview and predictions. This coming Sunday, live on the WWE Network, we will see WWE's final pay-per-view of the calendar year, TLC. After that, we can start gearing up for the Royal Rumble. And then WrestleMania season kicks off. When we look at TLC and we think of everything that WWE is doing this coming Sunday, we look at AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Asuka, Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax, Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman, and other than that, there's really not much of anything outside of Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Not much of anything. It's all filler. Some of the filler really could have some more life to it. This pay-per-view could have so much more promise to it if WWE would give some stipulations to these matches, if WWE would take one of the matches and add a superstar to it, which would make more sense, which we're going to dive into in just a little bit. And what's going to be really interesting as well is the match order and how they lay all these matches out, which we're going to dive into as well. I'm going to try to predict how I think some of these matches are going to be laid out on this podcast with this preview and predictions, all that plus so much more right here today. But first off, before we dive into any of that, don't forget to become a subscriber today. It would be much appreciated. Go to Facebook and Twitter and follow me at 2007Webby. A lot of fun things go on there, whether it's my tweets or posts, whether it's my polls that I put out for you fans out there to vote on. A lot of fun goes out on those two social media websites. And, of course, a lot of hard work and fun goes into this channel for you wrestling fans out there. Be much appreciated if you follow me. Go and watch Raw and SmackDown live reviews. That's up from this week right now, amongst everything else that you've missed this week. Be much appreciated. But now, TLC. Let's dive into this pay-per-view, shall we? First off, the first big match we're going to talk about is the Raw Women's Championship is on the line. Ronda Rousey defending the title against the face breaker herself, Nia Jax. Rematch from Money in the Bank, where Nia Jax dropped the Raw Women's Championship to Ronda Rousey. Now, this pay-per-view, this matchup that we're going to be seeing, honestly, it's filler. It's just to get Nia Jax's rematch out of the way, and we're more focused on what Ronda's going to be doing at the Royal Rumble, to be perfectly honest, and going into WrestleMania season. Now, there's a few different directions that they could go into, quite frankly, because there's no doubt in my mind Nia Jax is losing this matchup. And I'm sure there's no doubt in anyone else's mind Nia Jax is losing this matchup. The face breaker, the big punch, is going to lose at TLC. Now, whether that's by disqualification or whether she taps out remains to be seen. But she is losing, okay? Now, at the Royal Rumble, could it be Natalya? Because Natalya is facing Ruby Riott in a tables matchup. Ruby Riott has been beating Natalya and the Riott Squad every single week. The Riott Squad has been beating up Natalya week in and week out ever since the late, great Jim the Anvil Neidhart passed away. And it's time for Natalya to get her revenge. That could be an opening for Natalya to get a number one contender spot at the Royal Rumble against Ronda Rousey. Have that one-off matchup. Or Ruby Riott could have a matchup at the Royal Rumble. That would be cool to see. Or you could do what I have been wanting to happen for quite some time, and that is to have Ember Moon take on Ronda Rousey at the Royal Rumble. However you do this, Nia Jax is not winning at TLC. She's not. There is no doubt in my mind she's not. Those two matches, that's what's happening. And one of those three I can see leading into it. And I don't see Nia Jax getting a rematch at the Royal Rumble either. I just don't. I see her going into the Royal Rumble matchup. Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. Now, this matchup, it really needs to change. Now, I'm doing this preview and predictions on Sunday. So we still have the go-home show of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live going into TLC before we get into it, to the pay-per-view. So things could change, and I really hope they do. And right now, Finn Balor is taking on Drew McIntyre one-on-one. The one thing that I hope happens is Dolph Ziggler gets added to this matchup, and they make it a triple threat. Now, I know some of you are saying, another triple threat matchup? Come on, Webby. Why are you thinking another triple threat matchup? Don't we see enough of those? Why can't we have a singles one-on-one? Do you really want to just go out there and see Finn Balor, number one, just get manhandled by Drew McIntyre? Because you know something along that nature is what's going to happen. He gets beat up like a punching bag every single week. Number two, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler just got done breaking up as a tag team this past Monday on Raw. Doesn't it make sense for them to face off in some form or fashion at the pay-per-view? I know they had a matchup and Dolph Ziggler won. WWE Wrestling 101, 50-50 booking. Drew McIntyre gets his revenge, and it's always at the pay-per-view. So why not go ahead and have that happen at the pay-per-view? Stick it, triple threat matchup. Be more interesting than seeing Finn Balor as a punching bag. And whatever happens, Drew McIntyre will be the victor, because that is who's very high up in WWE's list right now. Elias versus the almighty Lashley. You hear the cringe-worthiness in my voice, don't you, wrestling fans? And I'm sure you all cringe as well when you hear Leo Rush and Michael Cole and Corey Graves and Renee Young spew that every single Monday night, because Bobby Lashley is absolutely cringeworthy, one of the worst superstars in Monday Night Raw as far as on the men's roster. Whatever the case, Almighty Lashley is going to beat Walk with Elias at TLC. Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And who cares about what's happened leading up to it? The only reason why Finn Balor, Drew McIntyre, Elias, and Bobby Lashley are facing each other is because it's filler and because they have been associated with Baron Corbin in this rivalry. So that's it. The Bar versus the New Day versus the Usos for the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championship in a triple threat matchup. This is where WWE should add a stipulation besides the tag titles being on the line. Now, I do realize that TLC used to be a little ridiculous when they used to have TLC matchup, a tables matchup, a chairs matchup, and a ladder matchup, all on the same night. I do understand that. And honestly, the most ridiculous one was a chairs match. However, and they had a stairs match. I understand how ridiculous that is. But let's be honest. There are a couple of these matches that have zero stipulations on them that deserve something else. And WWE will probably pull something out of their hat and say, well, we're going to make a disqualification and somebody's going to get DQ'd. And it's a type of matchup that you can't get disqualified in on any other night. This being one of them. You want to know truth. You watch. You watch. Whatever the case. Should be a great contest. I hope they don't go down that road. And most likely, I see the Usos pulling out the victory here in this matchup because the New Day have seen their time with the tag team championships. If they get the tag team titles, it's only because WWE wants to stack more title reigns on their resume until they eventually become the most reigning time tag team champions of all time. The Usos, even though some of you might say they haven't been back on TV long enough to get the tag team championships, if they get the titles, you can still have intriguing rivalries with tag teams if WWE builds up their tag team division good enough. And it'll be a good contest. Good matches for us to sink our teeth into and get invested into. And it'll be nice to see the Usos back on TV on a regular basis. The Bar, let's face it, ever since they got the tag titles, they haven't really done anything with them. Not really. The Bar went and they had that match with AOP and got paired up with the Big Show, and it was cringeworthy because, we saw Drake Maverick whiz on himself, and, they had those matches with the New Day, and the Big Show was paired with them, so he could, even out things with the New Day. I mean, that was it. I mean, it was cringe. Bar hasn't done anything with the tag team titles, even though it has been great seeing them on TV. And I hope if they drop the titles, they do not get written off TV. They get kept on TV, and we have more tag team matches with more tag teams as well. But I am putting everything into the Usos winning. That's who I'm banking on at TLC. Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin. Tables, ladders, and chairs matchup. Okay. Whatever. There's a few different scenarios that could happen here. Number one, Baron Corbin could lose to Braun Strowman with one power slam. Come in, Alexa Bliss. Number two, Kurt Angle comes in and is Braun Strowman's replacement. Kurt Angle is the new Raw General Manager because he beats Baron Corbin. Okay, whatever. We've seen Kurt Angle as a general manager before. Nothing new. And it gives the fans a nice pop at TLC. Number three, Bray Wyatt. Somebody that I would love to see on TV and somebody I would like to see at TLC take Braun Strowman's place to defeat Baron Corbin. 1, 2, 3, Sister Abigail. Alexa Bliss, new Raw General Manager. I see that happening until she gets recovered. I do not see WWE writing Alexa Bliss off until she is fully recovered to compete. I don't see that happening. There is a reason why she has been going over through all this women's division. It's to get her prepared for the entire general manager role. That's it. She's going to be the new Raw General Manager after TLC. Going into the new year. Probably at the new year, that's when she'll be it. Does it make sense? Absolutely, because SmackDown has a women's general manager in Paige. So, it's just something fans are going to have to live with. There'll be a niche that will gripe, moan, groan, and complain about it, but you're just going to have to live with it. Because that's probably what's going to happen. I don't see Kurt Angle coming back and being GM. Even though that storyline does make sense because that storyline has been there for Kurt Angle to come back and do that with Baron Corbin. But I have to wait and see what happens this Sunday. SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch, the man, versus the Queen, Charlotte Flair, versus the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka, in a triple threat TLC matchup. Now, this contest, one of the most intriguing rivalries of SmackDown, by far. Some people might say one of the most intriguing rivalries in the entire WWE as far as the main roster is concerned. You know, depends on who you are, quite frankly. Me, I honestly think that this rivalry, has been, one of, if not the reason why people tune in to SmackDown Live outside of, Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. It really is. There's no other reason right now why people really do tune into it. And the way WWE pushes this rivalry, absolutely not. Now, this match is all about one thing, though. It's about the Royal Rumble and how that's being pushed. What happens there? I think Asuka takes this matchup, hands down. What happens at the Royal Rumble? Charlotte and Becky Lynch. One of two things. Even though it doesn't make sense with how the brand split is, WWE could still go down this road, and Charlotte taking on Ronda Rousey, even though that's the most unlikely, but Charlotte and Ronda said they wanted to get their hands on each other in so many words at the Royal Rumble or after TLC, which means the Royal Rumble. So, if that's the case, you can have that there. Becky Lynch wins at the Royal Rumble and goes to face Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. If that doesn't happen, Charlotte, Becky Lynch somehow wins Royal Rumble together, WrestleMania. Or Becky Lynch or Charlotte wins the Rumble, Fastlane and Elimination Chamber are on the road to WrestleMania. Somehow, Charlotte or Becky Lynch gets also qualified to face Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania as well. One of those situations will end up happening, and Asuka will be the next SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Seeing that right now. The Intercontinental Championship is on the line. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. This matchup, let's be honest here, had so much promise. So much. Had so much great things going for it. It really did. Dean Ambrose turns heel. Turns his back on Seth Rollins. On the night, Roman Reigns announces he has leukemia and has to go fight it to get better. Get well, Roman. What happens? Dean Ambrose says Roman Reigns is going to have to face his maker, meaning God. Right? And Seth Rollins is going to have to face his maker. Going to have to pay for his sins by facing me, Dean Ambrose. And what happens? WWE gets backfire galore because leukemia and Roman Reigns is mentioned. Next thing we know, Bane is on TV from Dark Knight. And the WWE Universe is griping and moaning and groaning and complaining even more than when they were mentioning Roman Reigns' leukemia. And you know, wrestling fans, that should show you that, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't have griped at all. Because, yes, WWE probably shouldn't have used Roman Reigns' leukemia. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. In 2013, they used Paul Bear's death. Undertaker and CM Punk, they used Paul Bear's death. The urn, the ashes being dumped on Undertaker. They made it out to where Paul Bear's ashes were dumped on the Undertaker. And I don't remember a lot of fans griping and moaning and groaning and complaining like they are about, or like they did about this. And, you know, I just think that Dean Ambrose stood a lot more promise when he wasn't coming out dressed like Bane. And he wasn't coming out dressed like Bane before the WWE Universe gripe, moan, groan, and complain like a bunch of babies. Now, am I blaming that on all of us? No, because WWE Creative absolutely sucked when it came to rewriting that. But I don't think should have went to the extent that everybody did about them just dropping the leukemia thing of Roman Reigns. I don't think everybody should have. Now, with that being said, Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, TLC. Dean Ambrose, I really think, should go over here. Give him the Intercontinental Championship. Set up Seth Rollins probably for whatever he's going to do at the Royal Rumble. If Seth Rollins wins here, rivalry's done. It does not need to continue. If Dean Ambrose wins, have it continue on. Okay, make it something special, better than what you've been doing. I like the fact that Dean Ambrose has been getting the upper hand every single week. Dirty Dean, Seth Rollins, every week. Like seeing it. Kind of makes it a little predictable that Seth Rollins is going to win at TLC. But Dean Ambrose really needs the IC belt, in my eyes. Now, I think this match would do great with stipulation. I'm going to go on limb and say that. But that's just me. Y'all already know what you're thinking in the comments below about that. And last, the WWE Championship is on the line. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. The new Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. And let's be honest here. This matchup, this contest, going to be a knockdown, drag-out affair. Going to be a great contest. There's no doubt about that. Do I think it deserves a stipulation, just like the Intercontinental Championship matchup? Absolutely. Why these guys are not getting a stipulation, I do not know. Do I think this match should go on last? Be the very final matchup of the night? Absolutely. You look at AJ Styles and the work that he's done ever since he's been the WWE champion throughout the whole rivalry, and since he lost it to Daniel Bryan and their and their rivalry, deserves a main event spot. Throughout everything, has not gotten one main event rivalry, one main event spot since before, since the pay-per-views joined together. And that was the pay-per-view before WrestleMania 33. And that is sad. Epically sad. Just think of that. He has not gotten a main event since then. Absolutely ridiculous in my eyes. But WWE should be a tremendous matchup between these two. The order that I think this should go, as far as the winner, the winner of the main event, as far as Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, no question, Daniel Bryan's going to win here. And as far as the main event is concerned, one of two matches, Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax, or Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Asuka. That's who I think is going to main event the show this coming Sunday. I wish it was Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles for the reasons that I just gave you, but I really don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be one of the two matches that I just named to you. And I really hope you enjoyed this preview and predictions. Don't forget to become a subscriber today. And until I see you again, this is Webby, and I'll catch you on the other side. Talk to you later.